Adrian's here again. He's taking the taxi to our subscriber. Where is it off to again?
It's Wellington.
Wellington. It's off to Wellington. So all loaded up. Overloaded again, Adrian, eh? Overweight again. Unfortunately, bad news on the taxi. It is on its way back. So that's going to be proper chops history, that hubcap, because we've got one of the few outright returns we get. So what happened was the taxi was dropped off and went on the trailer. I mean, you saw me drove it loads of times. To be honest, it was the best starting vehicle I had out of the whole lot. Never missed a beat. So it was put on the transporter. Adrian put it on, no problem at all. Drove it there, took it off, no problem at all. Left it with the customer, and off he went. Our subscriber who wanted it for the dog to get into. Our subscriber basically wanted a taxi at the beginning of the month. In between, he got the key fob working again. There was a key fob with the car. He did ask me about the immobiliser, but I said I didn't know if the immobiliser worked or not. I'd left it well enough alone. The key was starting the car fine, but there was a little key fob. I think he put some batteries in that and got that working, which seemed to do the central locking remotely again. Now, I don't know whether that had anything to do with it or not. I don't think so. But he says when he went to start the car, he was just getting a click, click, clicking, which could be a number of things. Could be low battery, could be starter motor, it could be something to do with the immobiliser, we don't know. So I said, well, get a local garage to have a look at it. Let me know what the costs are. If it's starter motor, no problem at all, this, that and the other. So our subscriber rang round and basically found that everybody was refusing to work on it. I don't know how much of it was because it was warranty work, but there were people telling him they wouldn't take a look because the car wasn't in the system. Now, I appreciate when you're plugging in trying to diagnose things, it's ideal, but a starter motor or a low battery does not take a diagnostics machine to do it, does it? That's just old-fashioned mechanicking, isn't it? Apparently, they said that because it wasn't in the system, they couldn't give times for fitting the parts either. I mean, this has got to be the simplest engine in the world, isn't it? This old boat anchor of a 2.4 diesel, isn't it? In those? I was shocked. I was really shocked that no one was prepared to help our subscriber at all have a look at it. That obviously put some worry into him that even if it was something simple, that he might struggle to get it fixed if he had future problems with the car. So he decided to invoke his 14-day return rights and have me pick up the vehicle. So it's on its way back. He did check the voltage for me. It was only 12 volts. Obviously, it should be 12.6 or more. I don't know if that's enough voltage drop to stop the car from starting or not. He's getting a click, click, clicking as he does the key, which I think probably means that the thing he did with the immobiliser fob probably has an effect on it. If it's a click, click, clicking, I'm not sure. That would sound like the starter was trying to engage, but you don't know, do you? Normally that's a case of nothing happening at all. But yeah, so unfortunately it's we're having to incur some costs winging it back to us. I'll have to have a look at what it is, and then it'll have to go back up for sale again. Or I'll end up keeping it because I did enjoy driving it around the place. But yeah, it's always a right pain in the butt. Doesn't happen very often. I think all the time we've been doing this, how many have we had returned? Maybe 3. And what we're getting on now, I mean, we're fast approaching. I think we're fast approaching 3 or 4. When more on that, maybe 500 plus cars now. I think I'd have to look at it, but it's very rare. It does happen. These are old cars. It's 225,000 miles. I did everything I thought I could in terms of, test driving it for a number of days. I did a very detailed video on it before I went to the customer, so, they were all good on that front. But, yeah, it's just unfortunate. Obviously very disappointing for them to have it on their driveway and not be able to use it after, I think it was the day they taxed it, but they should get a refund on their tax side of things, shouldn't they? But these are the joys of trading old cars. As I say time and time again, if you want to have no problems at all, just keep buying Hyundai i10s with 50,000 miles on. I've just jinxed that, haven't I? No doubt we're going to get a repair on one of these now. So Adrian's here with the taxi. Now, Adrian, did it drive on?
Yes.
It did. Let's see if it will start again now before you get it off. Get it on camera. Not that we're disbelieving the subscriber. It definitely wasn't starting for them, but there we go. As suspected, what we think happened was the short on and off the trailer, and I think, no offence to our subscriber, I think they were playing around with the car itself. They said they were doing the key fobs and that, whether a light was left on or something inside, but the subscriber left it on a trickle charger for a couple of days. It started on the button, so I think all we had was a flat battery. So unfortunately I'm in it for the pickup fees for the sake of a flat battery. Like I said, the customer basically, his concern kicked in when he rang around asking people to have a look at it, and they all flatly refused to. I think it was probably more a case of it was warranty work, and they didn't want to get in the middle of a dealer and a customer. But as I always say, them's the cards we're dealt in the car trading business. Very frustrating to be eating into more money just for the sake of a flat battery, but there you go. We'll have to see if we can find it another home. I will double check the battery with the tester, and I'm gonna, well, it's coronation tomorrow. What do you reckon, Adrian? Shall I flag it right up? I reckon I'm gonna flag it right up. I'm gonna put all the flags in the back of it. I'm gonna upset all them people that kick off about me driving tray plates when I shouldn't, and I'm gonna go hooning around in a taxi. What is more British than a taxi, eh? Perfect. So massive thanks to all those taxi drivers out there who advised me that when I was trying to get the ramp out the back of the taxi when I first had it, that all I need to do was pull the door in a bit, push that button there, and turn this like that. I don't push the button, I just turn it, and that allows the door to swing fully open, so you get the ramp out a lot easier. So the advantage of the net. Oh no, I just noticed the stickers have been pulled off the bottom. The advertising stickers have been pulled off the bottom of the things. I really like that. Oh no, that's a bummer. That's a shame. I really like the authenticity of having the old advertising on there. I think that kind of knocks it back a bit. Well, I figured as it's back, it may as well serve some duties on the coronation day. So we've got all the flags on it. Mrs. Chops and Brooke did this yesterday night. I think the only thing they miscalculated was I couldn't work out why my seat was wet. When I got in this morning, my seat was wet, and what's been happening is the rain has worked its way all the way down these little straps until it forms a little puddle just there and drips on the seat. So we're going to take this down to the village festival. So we'll take this down to the village celebrations later on. I'm sure everybody a bit of a kick being driving around with this. And then what I've decided is something different for the taxi, let me tell you. So what's happened is I've got someone that regularly delivers to me here, because obviously I get lots of parcels of car parts and this, that and the other. And I won't say the delivery company will give away potentially who the person is, but they do watch the channel and we have a nice chat and so forth when they're here. And they came by the other day to say that they're not going to be delivering to me for quite a while. And when I asked what, it put everything into perspective and makes you realise that there's a lot more to life than worrying about the odd return on a car and so forth. They told me that the reason they weren't going to be here was because their little girl had been diagnosed with leukemia, and they were going to have to go down to, I think it was Bristol, and they were going to have to stop work and be near her in the hospital. And obviously they were clearly very upset about it, and it hit me pretty hard, to be honest. I couldn't think of anything worse than hearing that news, and then having to, on top of that, worry about work and money and, you know, how you're going to be able to afford to stay down in Bristol and be near them, because there's no way you're going to want to leave them and not be with them every single day. And like I said, it really does put things into perspective. So we've just come off the back of having a really successful raffle on those machines with the diagnostics machines and so forth, and raised, I think it was over £1,700 has gone to North Devon Hospice as a result of that last raffle. So massive well done to everybody who got involved in that, massive thanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to raffle the taxi off. That's what I've decided to do. We're going to raffle the taxi off. It's a cracking car. I've hopped in it and driven it today. Didn't have any problems with the battery at all, so I don't know really what happened. Like I say, possibly a light was left on inside or something like that. It's been bulletproof reliable for me. It's a lot of fun. It can have a stupid amount of different uses, as we discussed before. We'll go around it again and have a little look at it. What we'll do is we'll do a specific video for it, for the raffle, that we'll put on the competition. So for this video, I'm just going to put a link down below to the raffle. Again, we'll have it held managed by the Raffle company. They make sure that everything is properly done. I don't hold any of the monies. They automatically pay the monies to the charity, and they obviously they do the draw automatically, which I know, sorry, I didn't explain in the last video that you weren't going to physically see a draw for tickets on the channel, because again, to keep it all legal, keep it all safe, the system automatically draws the winners. I just get notified of who they were. So and I didn't put that up on a channel, the names of the people, because I wasn't sure whether they were wanting that or not. So if you were some of the winners, perhaps you want to put down in the comments that you got it all safely and well. So yeah, we're going to raffle the taxi off. We're going to make it just £1 a ticket, guys. £1 a ticket to raffle it off. And then what we're going to say is, it doesn't matter, whatever we generate, whether it covers the cost of the taxi or not, we're going to give 50% to the charity. So we're going to give 50, and the charity I found is, I'll show you on the computer in a bit. I had to think about this. I said, you know, I thought, do we approach this person and give them the monies and so forth? And obviously, I know they won't be, unfortunately, the only person in this situation. I didn't know how they would feel about, obviously you guys would need to know who the person was to make sure I wasn't pocketing the cash and so forth. So I didn't think that was appropriate. What I've done is I found a charity that supports people with accommodation and so forth, for parents and so forth that have got kids going into the hospital. So we'll hop on the computer and have a look at that charity, and I'll show you what the money's going to go to on that front. So we recognise, for all of you, it might not be the ultimate desire to own a taxi. So we put an alternative prize bundle together for those of you that still want to support the charity and get involved. So you can have the taxi, or you can have this tech giveaway here. We've got an X-Tool IP819 diagnostics machine. So that's worth about £600. It will do relearns on gearboxes and ECUs and all kinds of stuff like that. It'll do obviously all your code reading, reset TPMS sensors for your tyres, all kinds of stuff. Serious bit of kit. If you like playing with your cars, like do your own diagnosis, that kind of thing. I'd say that's worth about £600. We've got a Topdon BT300 battery tester. This is the proper one that will give you a printout. When you test a battery, it'll tell you whether it's cranking correctly, whether it's got the right voltage or not, all that kind of good stuff. And also a Topdon TC View, which is a thermal camera. The Topdon tester is worth about £100. The thermal camera is worth about £250. Plugs in the bottom of the phone and gives you a thermal camera. So we've got this bundle here, which is worth, like I say, it's a good, what, 900 odd pounds worth of kit here. So apologies for the noise in the background. It's raining and the unit's a bit noisy, but this is the charity we're looking to donate from the taxi raffle to. It's called the Grand Appeal. They offer family accommodation for those people with children that are critically ill in Bristol Hospital. They've got Cots for Tots House, which has helped 1,657 families, and Paul's House, which has helped 454 families. So it gives them somewhere to stay when their children are in the hospital, so they don't have to stress about finding accommodation or paying for accommodation. I cannot imagine, as I said, anything worse than having a child critically ill and then having to think about how you're going to afford to stay near them while they're in hospital. So this looks like exactly the kind of charity that we want to be helping out. So as I said, proceeds from the proportion of the proceeds from the raffle will go towards the Grand Appeal. The website address is up here if you want to go and take a look at it further yourself. But I think, like I said, I think that's going to be the perfect charity for us to help out. So hopefully a lot of you are going to get involved regardless really of whether you want a taxi or not. Although I have to say, if you have a few drives in it, it's going to put a smile on your face and you are going to want to keep hold of it. We will include free delivery within 2 hours of my location. So if that means meeting up with Adrian somewhere and you taking it on from there, I think obviously we don't want to be incurring a load of costs. We can't be sending it to Scotland for free, but within a couple of hours of me, or I'm quite happy to get to a nearby train station, we'll do that. Ideally, it would be perfect if the winner would be on camera for the handover. I think that would be fantastic for the channel. But yeah, I'm really hoping we can get behind this. And I mean, obviously it hit me really hard, but obviously that's absolutely nothing in comparison to the situation of the person who's actually got the child in hospital. But like I said, it really did put things into perspective. And I know I have a little whinge about things every now and then on here, but you really need stuff like that to come along and sort of give you a bit of a slap and say, get a grip, you really are doing all right. Sit rep on the old taxi. We've used it all weekend and it's not missed a beat. It was driven about Saturday. Sunday it was left on its own. It's now Monday. Sunday was left on its own. Got in this morning to come here and it started up on the button. So I don't know what happened really. It's entirely possible I run the battery flat when I give it its valet, and it had enough, well not flat but low, and it had enough to get on the trailer with Adrian and be dropped off with Adrian, but then being left for a day or two afterwards it flattened itself. It's possible that when our subscriber was fiddling around putting the stereo in and doing other bits and bobs in the car, that a light was left on somewhere. Light could have been left on the while it was on the back of the flatbed, I guess, as well as another option. But no, the battery is healthy, and the taxi's what it always was, which is, you know, pretty bulletproof. It changes really smoothly, it bombs along, it's a lot of fun. So we're going to give it a clean up now and do the video for the raffle, for the Raffle site, and we'll get that underway and hopefully we can raise some nice cash for that charity. So we've got a Part X in. Doesn't happen very often, does it? We do like to do Part X's here. I know they cause me a lot of grief a lot of the time, but the advantage of Part X is you get cars that you probably wouldn't think of buying normally. So we've got one of my all-time favourite cars in. Those that follow me on YouTube will know that I absolutely love my Suzuki Swift Sport. And the message came back and said, can you just answer the question? At which point I thought, do you know what? I don't need this. So I messaged back and said, no, sorry, I'm not sure we can do business together. I'm not liking the attitude.